What's the deal, family? Welcome back to the Patreon. We got another banger for y'all, man. So look, we got Weight of a Nation. All blacks. I already about to run this up one time for the one time, man. And look, I told y'all I was gonna do this video. I gotta make sure I'm providing to both of my my peoples, man. So y'all gonna get the Weight of a Nation, right? And then Chasing the Sun for the South Africans is going to be up on Patreon as well, but that probably won't be for like another week or two. But either way, I told y'all, to my NZ, my All Blacks, my rugby peoples, Weight of a Nation is about to go up on the Patreon. So y'all here, we watching it. We watching it right here, man. It will be uploaded on YouTube, the whole full reaction, probably months down the line from now. But either way, we're here. Y'all have been asking me for this video for years, which is crazy to say at this point, but it's been years, bro, since I first did rugby reactions. People were asking me for this video, and I never did it, but we're going to run it up finally, and I'm excited to check it out, man. I've heard so many good things about it, so I'm ready to tap in with it. This will either be a 4 or a 5-part, release, just because it's going to be too much to upload one full reaction at one time, so I'm going to do it in probably 4 to 5 parts, so be on the lookout for those, and then way later down the line when I upload on YouTube, I'll probably just put the whole thing up. But either way, let's get into it. I hope y'all got your popcorn ready. I hope you do. Weight of a Nation, All Blacks. Let's get it.
They've got a deep down desire in the gut to do the business. 4 years of planning, I suppose. 4 years of guys being frustrated and wanting to do the job.
Just going to run the ball off the bench. New Zealand look absolutely staggered. They cannot believe it. They have not won the World Cup since 1987.
4 years of trying to get things right.
And the All Blacks have to settle for third or fourth placing.
The biggest upset of Rugby World Cup history. For the All Blacks, heartache and heartbreak.
Very upset, that was our year.
I don't know if we can do it again.
But the job's not done. What else can I say?
Let's go! Hey, that gave me goosebumps in the beginning. I'm like, oh, I got some goosebumps right here. Let's go.
You just don't feel you can do anything.
What you'd worked for so long, because
Richie!
like that, it was pretty tough.
Into the stand, and France are still in the World Cup.
Straight after whistle, you're just sort of gobsmacked. You don't know. You're saying, oh God, what happened there?
Poor old New Zealand. 4 more years, I'm afraid. 4 more years.
And I've never experienced a dressing shed like that. And I've been coaching for 37 years. So you've got young guys sitting in a cubicle at the Millennium Stadium, facing the back of the cubicle, so they don't have to look at anybody. And you've got a number of them doing that, and there's absolute silence. And you're trying to think, what do you say that's going to make this better? And there's nothing you can say. Absolutely nothing. And I'm saying to myself, you've got to say something. And you come up with the things like, guys, I'm proud of what you've achieved over a long time. We've got to take this on the chin and handle it like men.
Yeah.
Then you start to think, media conference, 20 minutes. Obviously, we're disappointed. That's sport, I guess. The guys have been an absolute delight to work with for 4 years, and I've got a huge amount.
A lot of tears from everybody, not just the players, management, everybody, because we've gone there with 4 years of hard work and wanting to win it.
Very upset, that was our
Yo, I don't care what nobody say, bro. If you ever have played any competitive sports, and me, I'm a very competitive person. I'm almost so fucking competitive, I don't even like even expressing that part of me, because sometimes people might look at it the wrong way. But I'm just naturally competitive at everything I do. I want to be the best person. So, like I said, if you've played any sports in your life, or have been in any competition or game or match, or where it's you or your team versus that person or their team, when you lose, man, especially if you lose and you know you could have maybe won, and you know you gave it your all and you tried so hard, but it just slipped out of your fingers, bro. Slipped. That shit weighs on you. I still think about when I played football, bro, and like some of the games we lost. It still like just rips me apart if I think about it too much. I'm like, damn, dog, that game hurt me. Like, it really hurt me. Or that loss to that person really hurt me. Like, unless you've ever been through that, it's really hard to explain, and it's really even harder to understand, bro. Like, you just gotta be a naturally competitive person and just be that close, and it just slip away, and knowing you gave it your all and you still couldn't do what you could have done to fix it. That shit hurts, man. It cuts. It cuts for years. For years. For real. And that's at, high school levels. Like, imagine college, imagine professional, World Cup. Like, that weighing on you just becomes heavier and heavier. And I could only imagine, because I've never been in that situation.
Our year. That was our year. They're a good side. They're a good team.
I was pretty gutted for the team and for New Zealand. I mean, the Rugby World Cups aren't just another sporting event, they are our sort of preeminent sporting event. Yeah, I was really disappointed for them, and disappointed for Richie as the captain, having to carry that burden.
I just felt we're going home and we hadn't quite done what we thought we were going to do. We hadn't played to our best, and that's what really was the tough part to take, I suppose.
24 hours later, the reality of it all starts to sink in, and you're on your way home, you've got family that are over there, and the players themselves were shattered.
On top of that, what was it going to be like when you got home, because obviously the whole country was disappointed, and I think all those sort of emotions you're sort of like, yeah, this shouldn't be happening, but it has, sort of thing. And
but when we got to Christchurch Airport, there was a number of people there, probably several thousand, and they were hugely supportive. So they welcomed the All Blacks back to New Zealand, and they cheered the players.
To know you got these people.
Damn, bro!
Is awesome.
Look at that smile on his face, bruh. That's what I'm talking about, bruh. Because when you go back home, your people's they should remember and respect you for the work that you put in. If you had a sham of a game, they wouldn't be there. But from their eyes, you played your best and you just happened to lose to the better team, but you still made it this far. It's beautiful to see. Beautiful to see, man. That's how you know you did your shit. If you lose and your people still like me rocking with you, you did your shit. If you lose and ain't nobody there rocking with you, then you gave up. You failed. You gave up, you failed, and you didn't make the people proud of what you did. They ain't proud of you. And they show up like this, they proud of you. It's different. It's different, and it hits different. You see that smile on his face compared to how he was looking before? It hits different.
So I just say thanks to absolutely everyone.
Yes, hi everyone, welcome to Reunion. 1 week on, it would be nice to think the kerfuffle about our early exit from the World Cup is dying down.
Still trying to work out what went wrong and to whom and who's to blame. And
I'm surprised that Graham Henry hasn't resigned or been sacked.
Well, I remember, seeing Graham Henry after the 2007 campaign and thinking he won't survive. The rugby public in New Zealand are harsh and you're there to win. And if you don't win, no amount of explaining will get you through it.
Now, the French newspapers were saying that we were robbed. New Zealand newspapers were saying we choked. I knew that there was people out there in the media who were pretty negative.
He was average at the best. Cardiff, he didn't know what to do, and his best shot wasn't good enough.
In fact, extremely negative and extremely personal, which upset a lot of people who were close to me.
Very difficult, yeah. Very difficult for me, very difficult for the kids. Difficult for Graham's mum, you know, at night.
Off with their heads!
Whatever she was at the time. Yeah, I found it really difficult.
They know their jobs are on the line. New Zealand lose this, they go. It's as simple as that in New Zealand.
18-20.
The management and the players were hugely supportive. They wanted the coaches to restand, which was the best endorsement you can get. So you coach because you want respect from the guys you coach.
You know, the players had given their guts for us, and we wanted to show that we had something inside us to give back to them and to put our names forward.
You know, I think the best chance we've got of winning this is with me, Wayne and Graham staying together. So I'm in. If the other two are in, I'm in. Because I want to go and win this thing.
And I knew they were looking at me. Are you going to front, Ted? When the shit hits the fan, are you going to front? Because you asked us to do that. And I knew I had to front, because they were all looking at me.
I think in our gut, we probably thought that Robbie would get the job, and I don't think any of us would have begrudged that because of his record and how well he'd done.
I didn't think I'd get the job. I thought they'd appoint Robbie. I went down to the interview in Wellington, had the interview, didn't do the interview well, got too emotional.
I still remember Steve and I didn't have to go to the interview, and Ted did. The phone went that evening and it was Ted saying, "Oh, we're buggered, mate." I said, "Oh well, Ted, you know, at least we've had a crack at it." And he said, "Oh yeah, but the interview didn't go well, and I think we're buggered."
This is Prime News, first at 5:30.
A second chance for Graham Henry. He's been reappointed All Blacks coach despite failing to bring home the Rugby World Cup. Henry admits he made mistakes.
You could have knocked me over with a stick.
Hold on.
Been reappointed.
This is a wild... Yo! 1,310 days until the Rugby World Cup. Niggas is dying, bro. I'm sorry. 365 days in the year, right? So we got 3, you know what I'm saying? And we hit the 365, then we hit the 700, you know what I'm saying? 700, 20, 730, right? Then we got the 730, 790. So then we got 2,000. We got 1,090. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's 3 years plus we already in advance on. Like, let's wait until we under 365 before we start counting down, my fam. Like,
Did All Blacks coach despite failing to bring home the Rugby World Cup. Henry admits he made mistakes.
You could have knocked me over with a stick. Or a feather is the word, is it? So it was amazing, really, because I didn't think it would happen.
If you want my honest opinion, I don't think Robbie wanted it anyway. I think Robbie had already signed for Australia. I think he just went through the motions and wanted to be the martyr if he didn't get it. So, you know, he wins on both sides of the table. That's how I felt about it, because you don't go to a selection meeting and when asked who's going to be your running mates, knowing that the guy who's your opposition's got 2 pretty good candidates behind him with a wishy-washy answer. And he did. And that's why he lost the job, from my understanding. So, you know, did he really want the job?
Some rugby now, and for the first time, a foreigner will coach the Australian rugby team after New Zealander Robbie Deans was today named as John Connolly's replacement at the helm of the Wallabies. Deans will see the team through to the next World Cup after being appointed until the end of the 2011 season.
The opening Bledisloe Cup test in 2008 brings together the two coaches who have been in the limelight for the entire season. Once New Zealand rugby's hierarchy rejected Robbie Deans and held on to Graham Henry, this became the only show in town.
Every now and again, you're going to have a big mountain in front of you, and you've got to climb it. If you don't climb it, you're history. And we got beaten by Robbie, but that's when people get tight and get together and are totally focused and do the business. And we had to do the business at Eden Park the week after Sydney. Otherwise, I think we would have gone.
And freeing it up is Nonu. Now Nonu, he could go all the way.
Everyone wanted to get back on the horse and get things done. And then we did that. And then it was like... We're back. But South Africa gave us a wee bit of a timely tap on the shoulder and said, well, you know, you haven't quite got it right yet, you blokes.
Springboks has taken the victory here. Springboks win again.
It was a tough old year. Like I remember at a point there, especially when we've been beaten up to Hamilton, third time in a row by the Box that year, then I was just like, you start questioning yourself, you know, you're the right man for the job type thing. And although you say you shouldn't have those thoughts, you know, you have to really go, what am I going to do to sort this out, or am I the right person?
I think we're all questioning ourselves, but we didn't have the answers. I think there was probably conflict of philosophy on how you play the game at that point in time, which was good for us because it made people think and it brought us together in the finish.
I think people thought we were naive. We were trying to run the ball, we counter-attacked from everywhere when everyone else was playing a kicking game. And we got beaten on the back of trying to play too much, particularly in South Africa. And I'm not sure there was total alignment with the players either about how we were trying to play.
We got together as a...
I think one of the biggest not downfalls, but one of the things that hurt the All Blacks the most is that they are so good. They are so many levels above most of the competition, right? That when somebody does finally beat them, it's like, oh my God, like, oh my God, they lost. You know what I mean? Oh my God, they lost. It's such a big deal when teams beat New Zealand, when they beat the All Blacks. It's such a big deal when the All Blacks lose. And I feel like that's the biggest problem. Is that they lose and then all the coach, all the players, this is normal. For everybody, for the people who are All Blacks, you know, grew up watching them and know about their history and how they win all the time, guess what, bro? I'm from LA. I was born in 93. The Lakers been winning since before I was born. They hit the three-peat when I was 8 years old, and they hit another two-peat with almost hitting the three-peat when I was 16, 17. We win. But guess what? Sometimes we lose. You know, we got the most rings out of damn near every team in the NBA. Like, we win. But guess what? Because of that, when teams play us, they all of a sudden, dudes that was only putting up 10 points a game, they getting 30. You know what I mean? Like, they come even more prepared to play us just because of who we are. With the All Blacks, it's the same thing. It's a little different, but it's the same thing. Like, certain teams, their focus is beat these dudes. So then every once in a while, y'all gonna lose. When it comes to World Cups, even more like, we better beat these dudes. Forget all these other games. We can figure out how to win those. We need to beat these guys. So then that puts even more pressure in the biggest moments. But if you're a team who always wins and you never lose, it's hard to feel that same pressure in those biggest moments. Do you have the skill set on paper to still win? Yes. But the why, the reason why another team wants to beat you is bigger than your reason why you need to beat them. And I feel like that's the biggest thing that hurts the All Blacks. In big tournaments or big games where they should have won or could have won, but just didn't get the job done. I could be wrong about that, but that's been my observation. You know, they beat so many teams so easily that when they face a team that's punching back real hard, you know, is you ready or is you not? 70% of the time, you're still going to beat that team, but that 30% you don't is going to hurt. It's going to hurt bad, too, because you're not used to losing.
A group of senior players, the senior 7, and the 6 of the management, and we got up on the crow's nest and set strategy going forward.
I remember Graham discussed, we were wondering why we were starting so badly in tests, and we worked out that from Thursday morning to Saturday night we did nothing with any intensity, which was something like 50 hours, which was just too big a gap. So we had to think, go back to how we're going to play well and start in the test and work our way backwards from there. And so that was one thing that we trialled really successfully on that tour.
End of your tour, we're playing the French, the last game in Marseille. And the French were European champions at that point in time and were considered a bloody good side. And we knew it was going to be a huge game, and the French had only been beaten once in Marseille in history.
It's one of the noisiest stadiums anywhere you'll go.
Look at the face on Richie McCaw. Isn't he ready to play tonight?
We played the game that we wanted to play under the same laws, and it clicked.
Off goes Semifinal using good speed. Gives it up to Mills Muliaina, and the fullback is in.
We had a great win, 39-12, and it was on the back of some brilliant attacking play and some brilliant counter-attacking play.
Get up on my face, dog!
Outstanding.
Get up on my face!
And attack from our own 22 at times, and score tries at the other end.
Corey Jane puts the foot down, kick and chase, must score, do score!
If you ever have a complete performance in a rugby game, that was one of the games you look back at, you think, that was a special day.
After that game, it was the first time I saw the spark or the lights go on the players, and they said, yep, we can play this game. This is the way forward.
That showed that week that what we've got to do every week, and I guess that was where the build-up for the World Cup in 2011 perhaps started. When I look back, that was the time where we were like, right, we've got to get things sorted, and it sort of progressed from there.
By that stage, I think we'd already reflected on the things that, I know from my own point of view, that had gone wrong in the World Cup. I was in a reasonable place to accept certain things. Mainly because my mum died. She had a heart attack due to a lung cancer during the middle of the World Cup, and she died in January, and so that sort of put things in perspective for me. You get over that, you can actually start digging and saying, well, how, this is a solution, but what's actually the issue here? What's the cause of this problem?
We had a lot of meetings. There was a sort of a leadership group that met. I think we'd done it for maybe 2 years leading up to the World Cup. I think this time around we thought, World Cups are different. Let's confront the fact that we've been awful at winning World Cups. There's something different about it. They're not like Tri Nations, they're not like Bledisloe Series. So we were very upfront about that, but we wanted to be real positive and face the challenge and look at it as a challenge and not be daunted by it. Think this is something we can do that only one other All Black team has done in history.
Experiences like Soweto where we had a game that we could easily have lost, but to believe and have a group that found a way to win, that was gold. When you look 12 months down the track when we were in those sort of situations again.
Israel Dick
But also, I think we changed over that time, and you can talk about strategy for a long time, but you had guys like Mills Miliaina, Conrad Smith, Daniel Carter, Richie McCaw, Brad Thorne, Andrew Horn, Kevin Mialamu, who were the senior players in the team, the senior leadership group. And we dual managed the All Blacks for 2 years. And the input of those young guys was superb, absolutely superb.
Hong Kong 2010, 113 days left.
Here's the kick. It looks good. It is over.
That's what really frustrated me, is the game was there to be taken and we let it slip, and that was probably what annoyed me most, rather than actually losing. It was the manner in which we did.
Yeah, well, Hong Kong, we blew that. It was a game that we could have easily won, and Stevie Donald copped the wrath of the media and the supporters.
Donald smashes it up downfield. It's not out, TJ.
He basically gave the ball straight to the Wallabies. Is he good enough to be an All Black?
He's not, to be blunt. That's probably the worst game I've seen him play, and he's the one that I'm pointing the finger at. It's time to move.
This is so funny to me, because how many times have I mentioned teams are literally, in some situations, not every situation, but some situations, teams literally kick the ball back to the other team, which allows them to essentially lose the game. So you give the other team the ball kicking it in hopes that it works out for you, while having them in control. So they're in control of whether you win or lose. I don't like that. I want to be in control whether I win or lose. And I'm not going to kick the ball away in hopes that it turns into a potential win for me. I need possession so I can control every aspect of how this ball is going to move on this field. So if I lose, it's on what I did in control of the ball, not on me giving away control in hopes that they mess up and allow me to win the game. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out. That's how I think, personally. Even though for some teams maybe kicking works very well and works most of the time, I'd rather be in control of that situation.
Move on and select someone else. It's funny she's not the answer.
Because if it goes wrong, now it's like, can he play?
Yes, that left Australia in a pretty confident position. And they're not a nation that sort of, takes a step back when someone gives them a bit of a pat in the back.
198 days.
The earthquake was...
Hey, Rob. I know Rob is up in here, bro. This is what you was talking about the earthquakes. I seen your comment. I don't respond to all the comments, but I seen your comment, bro. You talking about the earthquakes right here. Which I can resonate with, being from California. LA. We've had some crazy earthquakes over the years.
And then I heard the sirens and thought, geez, this is bad.
It's not the same, and it won't be for a long, long time.
Damn.
I was in the Corrie Lounge at Christchurch Airport when it hit. I thought a plane had hit the building initially. The beer fridge exploded, and it was just mayhem. We got taken out of the airport. We stand outside, another one hit. Police came along and said, "You've got to get home because there are deaths in the central city. You've got to go and find your families." And man, I was just terrified. Managed to get a ride home with my nephew, who just happened to be out there, and found my family. That's the first thing you think of. Find your family and then worry about everything else.
I was actually out at lunch.
Dog, I'm not gonna lie. To hear somebody say it was an earthquake and you thought a plane hit the building? That is insane, bro. An earthquake so crazy you thought a plane hit the damn building. That, to me, is just, what? Who even knows what the sound of a plane hitting the building even sounds like, unless you lived through that one situation that happened in New York. Unless you lived through that, how can you even imagine what that would even sound like? Let's be honest. Even with video footage, you not there. So that's a crazy comparison. But that just goes to show how powerful the earthquake was. You know what I mean? That's what I'm more so trying to get at.
With Richie, he was in like a cast and crutches because he just had his foot surgery, and just in a mall having lunch, and kind of just whacked us around. Like I kind of stood up and Rico's getting flying off his seat.
Well, the earthquakes definitely changed the norm in Christchurch and for the people that live there.
Yo, that thing looked like a war zone.
Probably is going away to play footy when your families are at home, and you're in touch all the time, and you're told that we just had a 4.3. Oh, hang on, there's a 3.8, and it just drains you. It affects your sleep. It keeps you emotionally on edge, and we knew that was going to have a cost.
On an emotional level, we were quite connected to it as a management group and saying, well, let's make sure these people are right and keep checking on them, and so we really applied that principle a lot.
Like what Darren tried to do with other people's support was just to try and make sure there was strong lines of communication, great support for guys' wives and partners and parents and kids and all those sort of things.
Yeah, it's tough. I just had a new little baby girl. She was only a couple months old when the quake hit.
Yo, I resonate with that too. This is kind of a funny story, and obviously I don't remember. This is just what I've heard. But in Los Angeles, there was a really big earthquake in 94, or like 95, 94. I think it was like 94. But anyways, like it was like the worst earthquake. Freeways were getting cracked and falling down. Highways falling to the ground. Like crazy. I was like 1 or 2 years old. And when it happened, my mom ended up running out the house. And then she left me. I'm not even lying to you, bro. So scared, ran out the house, left me in the house. And I think either somebody else or her ran back in and got me out the house. But no lie, I was left in the crib. 1 year old left in the crib, big ass earthquake. And I know it's true. The extent to all the details, I don't know. But I was definitely left in the crib at 1 year old. After a big ass, like one of the biggest earthquakes LA's ever had. And I don't think we've had one bigger since then. So, go ahead, get your laughs in. Get your laughs in and all that in the comments, man. But that for sure happened to me.
You never knew what
Story
could
time
happen,
for another day.
If you're away. But I guess it's the strength of those people around you who kind of, I guess, help you to do your job and give you the encouragement to get out there and play your best. And I think what we wanted to do for the city and the region, really motivated us.
Those that stayed and decided that they were going to fight it, they just had massive amounts of resilience, and like for me personally, I just was like, well, this ain't going to beat me, there's too much going on here that I want to do and I want to do well.
It was part of what the guys who lived in Christchurch had to handle. And I think it brought us tighter as a team. And I'm not saying it was easy, but it was part of what we played for. We wanted to play for the people of Christchurch, as well as obviously the country, but we just wanted to try and put a smile back on the people's faces in Christchurch.
That's right.
Tonight on Prime News, Christchurch shaken again. The Rugby World Cup is taken away. This is Prime News.
The few days we spent down in Christchurch trying to decide whether that city could recover enough to host games it was one of the simplest decisions we've ever made, because they clearly couldn't. But it was one of the toughest decisions. It was a very emotive few days.
Just feel pretty gutted, like I think a lot of people were in the city. We understand
why you've had to make the call you've made. We will get over it. We're Cantabs, and we're going to find the silver lining in everything. Just give us time.
Yeah, got you, mate.
61 days. 2011 Rugby World Cup.
Welcome to the North Shore Rugby Club for the official naming of the 2011 All Black squad.
It gives me great pleasure to announce the All Black squad for the Investec, Tri-Nations and the test against Fiji in Dunedin, of which the proceeds, of course, will go to the Canterbury earthquake appeal.
I love coming into an All Black camp, regardless of how, how the Hurricanes have gone or whatever team I've been with. And I know, especially those first few weeks, everyone's just, so satisfied to be in the All Blacks finally picked, because there's almost so much debate about who's going to be in the team. And
Colin Slade, Canterbury. Conrad Smith, Wellington.
And it appears that
Conrad Smith, I'm familiar with that name.
After all the speculation, Colin Slade gets in ahead of Aaron Cruden is back up to Dan Carter.
Yeah, probably not overly surprising, I think, TJ. A lot of debate about that.
Yeah, a lot of thought went into that, and we picked Colin Slade because Aaron Cruden wasn't selected, and Steve Donald obviously wasn't selected. And we picked Colin Slade because he had utility value coming off the bench. We thought that Daniel would play every game, of course. We didn't have a crystal ball.
It was a good feeling, getting back together. It was felt like, right, we're finally on the, we're in the lead up to the World Cup, and it was hugely exciting.
And just playing with guys, you sort of easily forget how good some of the other players are, and when you're even training, running around with them, it's something I love, and I know it was no different that week before that Fiji test.
They have endured devastation, fear and uncertainty. From us all, kia kaha.
And I remember getting quite emotional on the occasion. It was great.
Kia kaha, man. Ma nonu.
And even going down and seeing the guys afterwards and congratulating them on what they were doing, to try and give a buzz back to the Christchurch people in an extremely difficult times. And it might have been only a small buzz, but it all helped.
Randall pops up. Here we go. The Investec Tri-Nations All Black Springboks next.
Yeah, the priorities.
All Black Springboks Tri-Nations.
Before that, Tri-Nations were really, really clear.
So our number one priority was to make sure that players were going to be in the best physical condition they could be in for the Rugby World Cup. And the second priority was to make a statement.
I do remember those two home tests we really targeted the Australia and then South Africa. We wanted to win them and win them well, because we knew those were the teams that were going to be coming back to the World Cup, and if we could sort of bury them at home when they come back for the World Cup, it would be lingering in the back of their mind.
This is our home. This is where we're going to be playing these guys in a few months' time.
Carter running strongly. Up the middle he goes. He's got Smith winning it.
Ooh, get up on me.
Now Gilbert. He'll be too quick. Corey Jane back to his best.
God damn, New Zealand 40, South Africa 7, Tri-Nations 2011, 7-11? Look at, like I said this before, bro. It's all about the why, bro. If your why is really strong on why you need to win, you will have that much of an easier time pulling off the dub. It's going to be that much easier if your why is really that strong. And they had a really strong why in 2011. You got the multiple earthquakes, devastation, death, coming off a loss, trying to rebuild the morale of the country overall through sports. That why is so strong, you're going to destroy anything in front of you. unless they got a really strong why to go against you, your why for why you need to win and pull it off and become the champion is so much stronger than everybody else. You know, outside of skill set, you know, if you can match the skill set and your why is stronger, you got it. You got it. That's all for rip. And obviously in 2011, the why is, you know what they say in Star Wars, the Force is strong, my friend. The Force is whatever. Yeah, the Force is strong. That's the why is strong within the All Blacks in 2011. Let's be honest.
Box, a good old-fashioned bath here in Wellington tonight.
Bledisloe is a hugely important trophy for the All Blacks, for this team, and we really wanted to put that away. So that's why the Auckland Test especially was huge.
Will there be
34
a more
days.
important game outside the World Cup this year? Not likely.
You know, there was a sense of fear about that side, and like how these guys might actually be better than us, and All Blacks don't like admitting that. You know, that there's another side that you know, even if we both play well, they might come out on top. And I think we had that feeling about Australia. They were just that slick and that smart in their form leading up, that, you know, we had to be on top of our game, and they were going to be a real threat.
As Carter finds Nonu, away for Semifinal. And they're only a couple of metres away here, snapped up by Nonu.
Nonu.
It's probably our first chance to get an Eden Park crowd and them to go nuts. We just really wanted to, you know, really just stamp our mark, you know, show to them that if you're coming back here later on in the year, it's going to be just as hard.
Off it goes to Semifinal, and the All Blacks are back. The Bledisloe Cup stays in New Zealand for another year.
Felt like we were playing not too bad. It was pretty satisfying. So, yeah, to have not given any teams any little bit at that point was pretty good.
Days left.
A few of us hadn't gone to South Africa for the test in Port Elizabeth, and you know, you could argue the team that was going to be playing right the way through was a great opportunity to have, you know, your team get another game together.
We didn't take too many of the Crusaders, which is not the norm for us, but we just felt that, you know, by giving them that emotional and mental break away from having to travel and having a bit of family time, that would be good for them.
You know, there's a saying, there's no I in team, but there is in win, and we needed to win. We had to have an individual approach. We needed to look at every person differently and make sure we managed them really well leading up to the Rugby World Cup, otherwise some of them are going to fall over.
If you're not going to play, to not have to travel was quite pretty refreshing mentally, really.
So we tried to gear our selection for them to peak and be available for selection.
Slade, Sonny Bill Williams inside to Gear, beautiful offload to Kahui! Richard Kahui!
We brought him, hadn't played for a long time, played him in a test match in Queen Elizabeth because we think he might be important in the Rugby World Cup. And we had to select the Rugby World Cup team after Port Elizabeth, and that was difficult. A very difficult process.
Plenty of time to 15-0.
Because a lot of the players weren't there, as you can appreciate. A lot of the players are sitting at home, a lot of the senior players.
So the Springboks have the victory, 18 points to 5.
And we had to talk to players who were in Port Elizabeth, who weren't in the Rugby World Cup team, and tell them. And we were jumping on a plane to go to Brisbane.
This year is an exciting one for the All Blacks, as we well know, and also for the whole of New Zealand.
It's an interesting tactic. I kind of like it. You know, like, fuck it. You already won at home. That was the important game. You win against Australia at home, another important game. You got to go to South Africa. You say, fuck it, I'm not flying my main players out there. We're going to bring some second-in guys. We are going to concede to probably losing this game because we already won. We already won convincingly, so we're good. at home. We'll concede this loss, give our players just refreshment time so that when World Cup comes and it's the actual important games, they're like as fresh as can be, as renewed, mentally, physically, just fresh. Like, I like that approach. Instead of trying to like ego battle and bring your best players out to South Africa in order for you to say we swept them in the Tri-Nations. Fuck that. Let them chill for a little bit, concede the loss, and then boom, we come into the World Cup hot. Fresh legs. I like it. I like it. That's a chess move. That's not checkers. That's a chess move all the way.
And so it gives me great pleasure to announce the All Black squad for the Rugby World Cup 2011.
We had to do that in the middle of the Brisbane Test week, which is not normal. It's not something you want to do because straight away your mind's off the here and now and you're looking at the future. And that's how we played in the first half in Brisbane. You know, we played poorly.
Breaks through a couple of tackles. It opens up and Will Gania scores a try for Australia.
The test match in Brisbane was an embarrassment for a long part of the game and lost a couple of key players through injury.
Kieran Reid has not moved at all. A lot of concern about a key player here.
Kieran Reid, you know, I think most people would say he's up there as the best number 8 in the world.
And given the closeness of the World Cup, surely
it's critical.
I felt myself that we had 3 players I wouldn't want to get injured, and Carter was one, Richie was the other one, and Rito was the third one.
Gets rid of one. Radicki Salmo, clear run to the line. Can he get away from them? Salmo, 5 metres, 3 metres.
That boy looked like he was falling in that game.
Wallabies, Tri-Nations champions in 2011, and they put a little bit of doubt into the All Blacks' minds heading into the Rugby World Cup.
We had some better realisation in the media and at home, I think, because gee whiz, you know, we could get beaten in this World Cup. You know, it's not guaranteed, and the Aussies might win it.
So there was concern out there and nervousness from the New Zealand public. Thought the All Blacks had fallen off the rails.
New Zealand, who would have thought, head into the World Cup on the back of 2 losses in the Tri-Nations.
There has never surely been a noise like the one at the moment from Eden Park, and a great moment for rugby in New Zealand.
Well, 24 years was a long time between World Cups and potential victories, and the weight of the nation was clearly on the shoulders of Graham Henry and the team. The country had gone through the Christchurch earthquake and the Pike River mine disaster, so we were looking for good news, we were hoping for great things.
Over 90,000 visitors are either here or on their way to join us for 7 weeks of great festivity, fun and footy.
The realisation that things were starting when you start to see on the news or whatever, teams arriving, and you know, they have a few welcome sort of ceremonies for the teams. But it wasn't until the Tongans, when they turned up, and they showed the scenes of what it was like at the airport, and people, you know, I was like, holy smokes, this is what if this is anything to go by, it's going to be a hell of a 6 weeks.
Leading your support tonight, it's only one more sleep until the World Cup kicks off. Can you believe it?
I just remember we had that week of amazing weather in Auckland. It was, and I think that added to it. And it was still sort of end of winter, early spring, when weather can do anything. But there was, you know, just great warm weather, and everyone was in a real party atmosphere. And this World Cup that everyone had talked about for so long had finally arrived.
Kia ora, good evening. A rugby
so long had finally arrived.
Dog, you had one job. You had one, and you guys. Did y'all forget which letters you had? Bro, we got 1, 2, 3 people they fired. They fired. You doing all this, you forgot to show the B. You forgot to switch the S for the exclamation. Bro, come on, man. Come on, man. Get one chance.
Kia ora, good evening. A Rugby World Cup, which began as an unlikely dream more than a decade ago, is now just a matter of hours away. Tens of thousands.
So many people turned up on the Auckland waterfront, when the tournament actually kicked off. It was a glorious day in Auckland, just a magical day for New Zealand.
Yeah, that viaduct was just, completely full right up to where we were on Hobson Street, quite a way. We're 3 or 4 blocks back from the viaduct, and there was still just crowds, around all the bars and everything.
There's a lot of people.
That first game from our hotel, it was just phenomenal. Hearing the music down at the viaduct, listening to the haka being done down there.
When we left the Heritage Hotel, there seemed to be 3,000 or 4,000 people, and they were on each other's shoulders with flags and calling out. That was great for the team, and that happened right through the tournament.
It was absolutely phenomenal, and I think there's a wee bit of gee-whizzing from the team at that point. Not quite sure what it was going to be like, and then, man, this is huge.
We knew it was going to be big, but it was, we realised then, I think, just how big it was.
It's about to go down.
A lot of our guys are extremely nervous, way more nervous than they would normally be.
Is that The Rock?
Everyone in our group knew the enormity of the task that we had.
A lot of nervous tension. This is the stage. This is what they've been waiting for.
Getting that game out of the way, I think, was pretty important.
We just wanted to perfect our game as a team and as individuals.
Here's a go, here's a try. And guess who?
my boy, get the workout in. Yeah.
And it's the All Blacks who've taken the points here. Not convincing, but they've won it nonetheless.
They will reflect on that and perhaps realise that there's still a lot of work to do.
41-10 is convincing for me.
We're not used to seeing New Zealand teams make that many mistakes. What do you put that down to? Is it personnel? Is it the structures, coaching? How do you explain that?
Oh, probably the coaching, I'd imagine.
I love it. I love it.
Key sort of objectives that would help us win the World Cup. And
a great coach always puts any faults on the coach. That's a sign of a great coach. When a coach puts the fault on players, right? Unless it's a major player mistake, a good coach, a great coach, I should say, always puts the blame on themselves first, just like a great player. Doesn't blame their other teammates. They always blame themselves because they're the leader of the team. You can't blame other players. You start doing that, you're probably not a great player. You might be good, you might be aight. Definitely aren't great.
one of the biggest tenets was that we could cope under the pressure, both on and off the field. One of the other key objectives was trying to unite the country behind the team, and that actually almost got to the point of being too much. For example, a lot of events that were what I would say typically minor for us in a week became major. You know, so going to an airport became a major event. We had to plan it and so on. We couldn't just arrive and jump on a plane. We'd have literally thousands of people there. So those things all added in. What it did, it just added another layer of intensity off the field that we normally wouldn't have.
From the start, we just said this is going to be fun. We need to enjoy this. You know, when you try to hide away from it, that's when the lingering doubts really come alive. You know, during a game, and that's what we didn't want. And you know, we based ourselves in town. We let it. The partying was going on right outside. You couldn't sleep some nights because it was so loud. And I remember walking down the viaduct, soaked it up, and realised just how massive this thing was going to be. And yeah, I think as a whole we did a lot of public events. They were getting, you know, humongous. There's tens of thousands of people turning up to those, and yeah, it was good for the team. It did bring pressure, and you realise there's times I was just thinking, man, we've got to win this.
The World Cup itself, I think, is one of my proudest moments in rugby, I think. You know, because I thought New Zealand stood up and were counted as a nation.
Yeah!
The country opening its doors and arms and its schools and its clubhouses and its homes to everybody around the world, just because of the game of rugby.
These are for you to take home from Palmerston North. Thank you so much for coming. I'll have a cuddle.
Oh.
Hey, I love the vibes right there. I love the vibes right there. NZ versus Japan.
In Hamilton, after the second
X
half
Factors
performance against Tonga, the All Blacks need to step up.
From the Tonga game, there was a lot of areas we thought we'd need to tidy up on, and we had changed a few things prior to the World Cup. Obviously, we wanted to be a team that, you know, kept evolving our game. You know, these other teams are going to start playing better, and they'll catch us if we try and sit still and use the same tactics.
Big thing is not to get in front of yourself. Like, you just got to, as much as anyone else wants to talk about what's happening down the track, you just can't afford to get carried away with what's in front of you.
And off goes Big Sonny Bill, still going.
We had an overall objective for the tournament. The team improving certain aspects of the game, and individuals have been given an opportunity to do their thing.
Nonu will get the try, set up by Sonny Bill.
Sonny gave us some utility value. He played on the wing, and he's obviously a marvellous athlete with great skill.
Sonny Bill, first try. Kahui for the corner, gets it off to Ellis. Slade, Thompson, he's got all the pace in the world, Adam Thompson.
Woo, 83-7. God damn. Australia versus Ireland.
My oldest son, Matthew, said it's the greatest sporting occasion he's ever been to.
I swear we were in Dublin with that crowd.
I felt it was absolutely sensational. It turned the World Cup from being something where you thought there was the Southern Hemisphere, the Tri-Nations Big Three, and then who's the bolter from Europe.
Game is over, and Ireland have caused a big upset.
Suddenly, this tournament, it just veered away, and you had a southern and a northern run.
Intercept! This could go all the way!
It was just a good reminder, I think, for, you know, the team and probably the public even more, that, you know, these Northern Hemisphere sides, a World Cup's designed for them. They can knock, you know, one of these teams, one of us over, and never meet us again. You know, that's they can make history, and they play that sort of game, you know, where they get a sniff, hard to put away.
The moment Ireland beat Australia, you felt Europe will be having someone in the final. I just thought it was a question of Ireland or Wales. And of course, from the All Blacks perspective, it made life look more awkward because the Aussies suddenly were thrown into their side.
And I was sort of thinking, wow, this is going to change things a little bit.
As well. Now, of course, that result has major ramifications for the tournament, especially when we get to play.
In terms of how it would factor in later, you know, I didn't think a whole lot about it.
So possible quarterfinal South Africa versus Australia. So that means NZ will play South Africa or Australia. You know they wanted to place. I feel like they want to go against Australia, but they keep mentioning how Australia was a powerhouse at the time. So maybe South Africa is the better option. But if I'm NZ, I want to go Australia for sure.
You just, by that stage, World Cup, you're into it. You're just, you know, you're ready to play, you know, anyone. And as those sort of results showed, it wasn't as if there was going to be easy games anyway.
And this will set off giant celebrations around the rugby world.
It's such a great game to look forward to when you
versus
consider
France.
the history between these two sides, particularly at World Cups.
For once we were going in there with, well, you know, who's actually going to win this game? And there was a lot of talk about how the French were going to beat us.
The All Blacks in France. So you really think that the French can have a pop at the All Blacks?
Yeah, I do. I think structurally they picked a team.
We had a real good attitude for that game, and we built up for it strongly. We were in Christchurch, we had huge reason to deliver a good performance. We really felt for the people, we connected with the people of Christchurch, even the guys that weren't from Christchurch, because there were a couple of quakes while we were there, and we met with some of the people who had lost family members. Hugely emotional time. They came to training. I still remember running over with Kevi Milamu, who took us over to the families and said, thanked them for coming and said, we're going to go and train now. You just access any part of the field you want to. When we're finished, we always will come over and we'll spend the next couple of hours together. And I was quite struck by the fact that those families even wanted to come along to training, and it just reinforced how much it meant to people. And when you're in the environment, sometimes you take that for granted, but when you could see it for these families, what it meant, and a lot of tears shed at that session, and after that session, it was a great leveller for us.
Dog, you gotta realize, bro, after a major earthquake like that, for a lot of teams, for a lot of people or fans or whatever it may be, they might not have the money to go to the World Cup to go check you out, right? Like, they just don't got that. So for them to be able to watch you train and do your thing in preparation for the World Cup, just that alone might be enough for them to just have heavy, heavy, heavy emotions. Like, just that alone, because they know they don't got enough money or time, or they got to go to work or whatever it may be to even go see you at the World Cup. But to see you train for the World Cup might be like, that might be, feel like going to Disneyland or something. Like, that's so much of a gift for them, potentially. Because they don't got nothing else. So this is the only thing they got that gives them hope in their life, is to see, their favorite sport, their favorite team, a family member who died, that was their favorite team or favorite thing to watch. And this is the thing that gives them hope or reminds them of those people that they lost. Some powerful shit, man. That's some powerful shit, for real, for real. And people don't understand, like, it's just a little thing sometimes for some people, depending on what they may be going through or have gone through.
Great way to ground ourselves, and we went into that French game with huge will to do well for those people.
Richie McCaw tonight, 100 test matches, remarkable career it has been. Works it across to Nonu, coming from deep. Nonu's clear.
Look at Nonu! Look at Nonu! Going crazy!
Now Carter, away for Dag, and a try for Adam Thompson.
Can't see me.
I thought we played bloody well, particularly for periods of that game where we took them apart.
Wepu lobs the pass beautifully for Corey Jane, and the little wing is off. Corey Jane, what a try that is!
So I was pleased with the French round robin game, but the French are pretty shrewd and pretty sharp, and they had thought this through and thought, we can beat the All Blacks once if we play them twice.
Stepping is Dag, still stepping! Oh, brilliant! Absolutely brilliant! So the All Blacks have beaten the French here at Eden Park by 37 to 17.
That's a dub. That's almost 21 blowout.
All Blacks twice in New Zealand, so might as well be the final. And they were saying in the change room afterwards, we'll see you in the final. And when there's limited English, when you say that, I was sort of like, I remember one part of me was like, wouldn't surprise me type thing. So
I'm thinking to myself, we've got to make it, and you're sitting here telling us you're already in it and we've just beaten you. It was a funny feeling.
It was special afterwards because Jock and Richie were together, and Jock and Richie had huge empathy. Both All Black captains, both played number 7.
And a very special player, and that player, of course, is Richie McCaw.
in another way, it was, you know, sort of full of sadness. He was this great player, this very strong man who, you know, was obviously suffering.
And to achieve 100 test matches, you need to be an outstanding person.
There was also a really nice sort of softness about it all. I mean, we look at our All Blacks and they look like they were in a car accident once they finished the test match on Saturday night. The big, strong fellas, and they don't give an inch. But he was this sort of really affectionate moment between sort of Richie and Jock.
100 test matches.
Bro, I love shit like this, bro. It got me all emotional and shit. I'm not emotional, I'm strong, I'm a man. But goddamn, this shit got me emotional, dog. I told you guys, I don't know if it was this or maybe it was something different, but about like competitiveness, bro. When you competitive, bro, shit just is different. When you played sports, shit is different. This is like Richie McCaw looking into his future while this dude is looking into his past, bro. He was that guy. Now Richie is that guy. But Richie will be this guy as well. And then maybe Richie will be the guy that becomes him that gives it to the next guy. That shit is powerful, bro. Like, I don't know, dog. I don't know, dog. To me, that is dope and crazy. Especially when you played the exact same position. That person's a legend for that same position you played before you were there. You might have watched him on TV. If you didn't watch him, your dad did. Your uncle did. Your grandpa did. That's dope, bro. I don't know. If y'all feel me on that, let me know. But to me, it just hit different, bro. Certain little things be hitting different. That's dope.
I thought the big boys came out to play that night too. You know, DC was right up for it. And he knew that it was one of the key games in the tournament and played accordingly.
DC no Marvel.
His whole life.
Let's go.
At that point, everything he did was aimed at him being in the best nick of his life, coming into the quarterfinal, semi-final, final, and that French game was just part of that. You know, where he hit his straps, he took over, he ran at the line, he kicked, he got us going forward, and he was the Dan Carter that, you know, we all know and love.
Man, I gotta react to Dan Carter ASAP.
And I guess we all had a feeling that with Daniel Carter on our team playing like that on our home track, we were gonna be hard to bowl.
Tonight on Prime News, the nightmare scenario as Dan Carter's forced out of the World Cup. But
Dan Carter out of Rugby World Cup.
Dan Carter's out!
When I died, his nation would come to a halt. I don't think New Zealand can win this world.
Dan Carter's injured, then he's out. But Dan Carter injury crisis.
The Carter crisis.
Dan Carter.
Daniel Carter.
Dan Carter.
Dan Carter.
Yeah. Dan Carter.
Dan Carter.
Dan Carter.
Bro, this is like Kobe Bryant getting injured, bro. It's like 2002, the Lakers are in the playoffs, man, and Kobe gets hurt. Like, oh my God. Kobe. Kobe is injured. It's over. All we got is Shaq and Rick Fox and Derek Fisher. God damn. Kobe is hurt. That's why I feel like that's the same thing.
That day before Canada. He said to me after training, Smithy, I'll just have 4 shots at goal. 4 shots at goal, that's all. He was captain, remember, moving to that Canada game, so it was a massive occasion for him.
Only too happy to fill in, which is a pretty special moment, for myself to lead, the All Blacks.
Something that he'd earned and was really, really proud of. So I got behind the post, first kick went over, but he didn't hit it very well, and I thought, geez, that wasn't the best. I thought he'd scuffed the ground. And next kick, similar. And I thought, yeah, maybe the next one will come right. Next kick was pretty similar. And then his last kick.
I just heard him scream, and I looked around.
He tore his
I
groin?
knew as soon as he'd done it, he was history.
Tore his groin.
And then he sort of just kept rolling around, and then I sort of looked over, and because Wayne Smith was down catching us, and he's a hard man to hide his emotions, and he had sort of dropped his head, and I knew he looked worried.
And I heard the moaning, and man, I just felt sick in my stomach. Conrad Smith had come over. We had a look and oh geez. Medical people came over, took him into the medical room, tried to, we need to get him out of there to reduce the effect it had on the team. We're a family and people feel for each other, and we just need to get him out of there and reduce that impact.
Yeah, he definitely tore his groin or maybe his knee, but I feel like it's probably his groin.
I got back to the hotel and I just lay on the bed and said, I'm not going anywhere. I just felt sick. So I then went into Daniel's room. I think Richie might have been there at the time. I didn't know what to say. Daniel didn't know what to say. We just sat there for about 20 minutes.
So gutted for him, he'd put so much effort into being ready to play in that tournament, and then to see him just gone like that, geez, I didn't know what to say to the guy.
I remember Ted then pulled us all into the changing rooms, and it was a masterstroke of the man. He just said, because obviously at that time, especially some of the young guys, you just start thinking, man, we've lost our, one of our key players, and he just pulled everyone in.
And I remember going into the dressing shed at Rugby Park and talking to the guys and saying, we've had a major, the unexpected has happened, and guys, we are going to handle this. And we talked about Colin Slade and Colin, that we believed in him, and we're all going to step up and play another 5% for Daniel, and we're going to get through this thing.
All right, now we got New Zealand versus Canada. Let's get it.
And charged. For some reason, Colin Slade decided he wanted to kick it.
We had a philosophy or a strategy that things are going to happen that we've got no control of, and we just got to handle it.
I love it. I love it.
Expect the unexpected and handle it.
I love the fact this is how you know he a great ass coach. Because you know that you don't got Dan Carter. DC is not there. So Marvel, Colin Slade has taken his spot. Marvel took DC's spot, right? So now we know Marvel is in here. We know he's new. We young, he's fresh. We know we're giving him good energy. But we also do know he's probably going to fuck up at least a couple times. So things are going to happen that we're not going to expect because he's not DC. No offense. But we got to just handle that. Because it's not his fault that he hasn't been playing with us consistently enough in these big games as a starting player. That's not his fault. That when he comes in to play with you guys, a team, a group he's not familiar with, being on the pitch or being on the field with for that much amount of time for that part of the game, he's gonna have to make adjustments, and we're gonna have to adjust with him. And I love that. I love that.
So when Dan Carter ripped the adductor tendon off the bone in Wellington in preparation for the final round robin game against the Canadians.
He ripped his adductor off the bone? Oh my God. That means he got mesh. He probably never even really played again after that. If he did play again, he was definitely never the same. Because that mesh will mess you up, bro. Especially around your man parts, dog. Woo-hoo-hoo. When I was a personal trainer, I used to have clients that had mesh up in there from tearing their groin. And it was not a pleasant experience. It was not a pleasant experience for them at all.
That was a major.
Slade. Clean break by Slade. Now can he link up? A long pass to Guildford. Guildford with pace. Dang is there.
I felt we did remarkably well in that game. We played reasonably well. We put a lot of points on them, and probably it was a better performance than what I would have imagined with such an event happening.
And the All Blacks will still be reeling, no doubt, from the announcement made at 10
Woo!
o'clock.
79-15!
To probably go through that because it happened again. It was only the start, really.
We are heading in to the quarterfinals. Sunday, October 9, New Zealand,
South Africa, Argentina, England, Ireland, Australia, Wales, and somebody else.
You just realise every team is going to have their big day at some point, you know, and we've got to make sure that, you know, especially we get through the pool games, but when it comes to knockout rugby,
wait, hold up.
You know, it's a big day at some point. You just realise.
Attention now.
This is funny. The top 8 teams: New Zealand, South Africa, I believe that's Wales, Australia, Ireland, Argentina, England, and France. It's literally the exact same quarterfinals matchups, except switch Australia for Fiji. And it's literally the exact same. That's kind of crazy. Literally 2011 is the same as 2023, except you switch Australia for Fiji. That's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Now goes up another ratchet gear.
You just realise every team is going to have their big day at some point, you know, and we've got to make sure that, you know, especially we get through the pool games, but when it comes to knockout rugby, there'll be a moment where it comes down to 1 or 2 decisions, 1 or 2 moments that'll be the difference between you going home or winning the thing.
And New Zealand have yet again failed, this time not even at the penultimate hurdle.
We had to really look closely at knockout football and what that meant and how we prepared for that, how we, especially emotionally and mentally, how we prepared for those types of occasions. And you know, to be honest, Brad Thorne, you know, sort of coined the phrase that, you know, the quarterfinal, well, that'll be my grand final. If we win that, then next week I'll be on my next grand final. And you know, in Brad's own sort of silly way, but that became a real mantra for the team.
I find it real refreshing. It's you know, let's do the business or we'll see you later. And to me, I find that exciting.
New Zealand have got a history of panicking when things go wrong, and if it starts going wrong, the question has to be asked.
You know, we had plans for if we had to get drop goals. We had plans for if, you know, things didn't go our way. You actually planned for the worst, and then you always had something to go to. And I think perhaps in 07 we didn't quite grasp that. We thought we did, but we didn't quite grasp what it was going to be like when it really got tough.
What was McAllister doing? Why have a drop goal near the halfway line? What's he doing?
3 days, Argentina.
It's the
Let's go.
performance of Colin Slade. It's what everyone was talking about. I mean, what did you make of his effort, Stuart?
He felt the pressure. You could see that. He's charged down 49 seconds into the game. It's an absolute.
Do you think the All Blacks can win without Dan Carter? Yes. I don't like how you go from, of course, still plenty of class, to yes, but it's much tougher. I feel like that should have been like third. Like, but I get it. Okay. I'll go with yes, but it's much tougher. Based on what I know about Dan Carter and how everybody praises him as like the greatest All Black player ever, or the greatest number 10 or 11, I think he is ever, or something like that. So, based on that, I'm going to go number 2.
Stuart?
He felt the pressure. You could see that. He's charged down 49 seconds into the game. It's an absolute nightmare.
The unfortunate thing for the All Blacks is these guys aren't Dan Carter.
Oh, this is the most desperate thing. How does Colin Slade feel?
As a forward pack, we probably from then on really took it on ourselves to lead this team around the field and play a different style of footy, but play a more forward pack orientated style where we really lead the team.
And guys have been supporting me all week, and you know the preparation's been good, and you know I suppose it's with DC going down, you know there's a loss of leadership there, but you know other guys have stepped up and they'll have to continue to do so.
Conrad really stepped into that leadership role and ran that back line on the field and off it. Showed real, I thought, experience and accountability to the performance of the team, and he was a major contributor, I felt, to the success.
We also had visitors, you know. We had Jock Hobbs, was an absolutely amazing man. I remember talking to the troops and saying, you know, he just talked about his challenge with his illness, and he just said to them, all I try and do, guys, is get out of bed each morning and try and be the best I can be. I try and be world class. I'm not, but I try and be world class. And I think that was really inspirational to the boys.
Argentina stay alive. They win a thriller.
I think that was really inspirational to the boys.
Argentina stay alive. They win a thriller.
The passion of this team and the courage of this team show the pride of wearing the shirt will come through hopefully on the weekend, and we will step up our game, raise our level and our pace and everything. I think we have a good chance of beating the All Blacks.
Okay, this is before they beat the All Blacks.
We just looked at Argentina and we just knew they were a difficult side to play. No one, regardless of who they had played, no one had really put them away. Even the games they lost, they were always close games, and they kick a lot of ball, but they just stay in the fight.
Once we settled down to analyse them, I was actually quite surprised about how good they were out wide. Rodriguez, Amorosino, Agula, guys like that were actually quite impressive during the tournament. You remember Amorosino's try against Scotland. So they were a bit more of a challenge than what most people gave them credit for, and they proved to be.
Quarterfinal, it's the day. It's the day. Let's get it. Come on, let's get it. It's the day.
Graham, what was your reaction in the build-up to the game of this importance to have a couple of players involved in a drinking incident?
I dealt with that and we've moved on. I was just bloody stupid. Now they didn't do anything particularly bad, but they made a bad decision. Made a real bad decision.
I personally was really annoyed at that. I was annoyed at the boys, clearly. I just couldn't understand it at that stage in the tournament. I was annoyed at the fact that I read about it in the paper and hadn't known about it.
So they didn't have to come and see me. And they would have been a wee bit worried about seeing the headmaster. But they had to front the 7 leaders and explain their situation. And they were packing it. And they explained their situation to the 7 leaders, and then they had to apologise to the full 28.
To me, the measure of what happened in that incident was the performance of those 2 players, because they felt it more than anyone that they'd really let them. They truly felt that they'd let their boys down.
Hey, that's just funny because how many times have I watched like a match or a highlight and I'm like, damn, what the hell? Was they at the bar? Was they at the bar all night the damn near the night before? Because what's going on? How many times have I said that, bro? I know. I get it, bro. It happens in American sports too. NBA players, football players, they be at the strip club getting drunk, doing wild shit, and then be like the middle of the finals. You like, what the hell is going on? Focus on the game, man.
So out comes Mills Muliaina in his 100th Test match.
The boys will be boys.
For him as well. The Pumas stood their ground, accepted the challenge. Sanatori striding his way through, and he's got a real opportunity. Fullback Rodriguez going to the line, and the try is scored.
It was a pretty stiff test, and the players were pretty sore after that game, so that's always a good measure of how the opposition have played.
Is the 10 jersey a poison chalice at the moment for the All Blacks or what? Because here's a bloke who was thinking about being in Fiji on holiday about a week ago, Aaron Cruden.
I think Corey Jane, if he wasn't player of the match, I think he would have been second behind Piri in that game because he was sensational, and I thought after the match, well, what better way to show how much it means and to repay your mates.
Kieran Reid making a welcome return to the starting lineup today.
Oh, he's a world-class player, he's a quality player and a quality person. who adds to our intellectual capacity on the field, and we didn't have a world-class number 8.
You know, I think most people would say he's up there as the best player in the world or close to it.
He's got a big future as a leader, I think.
33-10. Yeah, but you're supposed to do.
We were playing Australia in the quarterfinal in Wellington, just prior to us playing Argentina in a quarterfinal in Auckland. And the players didn't know the result of the South African-Australian game until we came off the field in the Argentinian game. And I was hoping that we'd play South Africa in the semi-final, because I thought they'd be easier than Australia. I could well be wrong, but that's how I felt. And we're walking into the dressing shed and saying to the troops, you're playing Australia semi-final here next Saturday. And they were delighted. They were whooping. They were up.
Yeah, they don't want to play South Africa. You are a coach. You are on the sideline. South Africa, when they play South Africa, they got to be on the field with these boys. You know what I mean? They like, man, I ain't trying to do all that. We got Brian Habana out there going stupid. I'm not trying to do none of this, bro. Give us Australia. We can figure that one out. I don't care how good they are. We'll figure that out. We not trying to play South Africa, bro. Nah, man. They too strong over there. Like, nah, man. Hey.
I thought, gee, we're beating Australia already.
Tonight on Prime News, Captain Fantastic throws a scare into the All Blacks camp. Richie McCaw struck down by an old injury.
Expect the unexpected and handle it.
Concern grows for Richie McCaw's injured foot.
You know, we're trying to send out positive messages, but no one wanted to believe them.
He's not that okay. He hasn't been training, Ian. He hasn't been training because he's having injections in his foot. That is not okay.
I knew he was doing it really tough, to be honest.
Yeah, you walking a little funny.
Confidence in yourself, he just says that he'll just carry on and do it. So
foot's good. Yep, no, really good. Yeah, it was sore, but adrenaline's a great painkiller. When you got in a World Cup, if you're ever going to play under, with things, there'd be the time you'd get out and do it. And I don't know, everyone at times plays with a bit of pain.
So he broke the little metatarsal of his foot, and he didn't train for a month. So the worst nightmare that you could imagine, the two senior pros, Carter and McCaw, both have major injury.
That's tough. Hey, all right, man, we gonna leave it right here, or we gonna tap back in for part 4, which should be the last part. I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm going to do any extra parts. I think I'm going to just lock it in with part 4. So we'll return and we'll finish off this documentary with a major injury. Wow. 2 major injuries. But now we got the second one. This is crazy. I will update you guys, obviously, when it's uploaded. And that's it, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching and enjoying with me. Thank you for commenting. Let me know how you feel and all the messages and comments. I really do appreciate it, bro. I might not reply to everything, but I see everything, and I really do appreciate it. So that's it. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Remember to keep it real. Real is rare. Real always reaches everyone. Next one. Peace. What's the deal, Patreon? Welcome back, man. We got part 4. Weight of a Nation All Blacks documentary, okay? We about to run this one time for the one time. Look, I know I was supposed to drop part 3, but I ended up having like a crazy just cough going on. Like I couldn't even react to videos because I was just started coughing. It was all bad, bro. But I'm feeling a little bit better now. It's starting to go away. So part 3 and part 4, obviously you already watching this, are in the same video. I just gotta let you. I'll probably already let you know on Patreon on the post. But if I didn't, I'm letting you know right now. That's my bad. But we gonna finish this out right here. So let's get to it and see how this ends up playing itself out, man.
Colin Slade suffered a partial tear of his left adductor. We don't really have long enough to rehabilitate him to be able to take any part in the tournament from here on in.
I was horribly nervous. I was...
Dog. First Dan Carter. Now Colin Slade. It's just like, bro, you can't catch a break.
And I think in the background, what added to it for me personally, we'd lost Dan obviously a few weeks before. We'd also lost Slady, and when those two went down, it became pretty lonely.
Who is he?
So Aaron was coming into first five by that stage, and we weren't going to burden him with a lot of the strategy.
Yeah, I've brought some new stuff in, so yeah, it's just getting my head around that, and everyone's really helping me out with getting my head around it.
Yeah, from a team point of view, we had to just say, well, we're not going to use any of this as an excuse. We just get on with it, and as we said, we'll get challenges, and it's a team. Every team gets it. Whoever deals with them the best, and that was what had to be led from Ted and coaches and the rest of us. You know, not show any sort of disappointment. You just had to say, well, let's get on with it.
Yeah. 1991.
Intercepted. Mortlock gets the first try.
Semi-final of the World Cup against a side that we respected. We knew that they had the ingredients in that side to embarrass us, to beat us.
When I first started playing in Australia, we had a really good interaction with the players, and then I don't know, for whatever reason, it sort of got a little bit strained in the years, and I suppose particular individuals, Richie's little spat with the F10 sort of added to things, and there was just a lot of that behind the scenes.
It's called competition, my boy. I don't know how to put it. It's called competition. Y'all are already like right next to each other. People think New Zealand's a part of Australia sometimes. You know what I mean? People don't really know. Shit, I think I might have thought this. I might have thought at some point it's part of the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, but it's the competition, bro. And they got y'all in 91. They got y'all in 03. So in their eyes, they low-key have your number. But in the world's eyes, you got their number. So it's just gonna be a little bit of animosity over years. You know, you got coaches and their thoughts and opinions that trickle down to the players over years. You know, it's great competition. That's what it is. It's not supposed to be perfectly friendly all the time. There's supposed to be some beef in there. There's supposed to be some hot energy in there, a little bit of craziness. That's okay. That's good for the sports.
Players think, you know, who do you think you are carrying on like that? You know, it's not the way New Zealanders, All Blacks behave.
Knee to the face, though.
That little feud continues.
I'm not going to change that game, and just because we're playing at Eden Park or just against the All Blacks. So I'm going to go out there with the same mindset.
Hey, Quade Cooper, though, y'all know I rock with Quade Cooper, bro. That's Michael Vick. That's Michael Vick for Australia, bro. You know what I mean?
Definitely, you know, when your
Quade.
skipper has been, you know, given a bit of treatment that you think, you know, isn't right, and you know, there's guys in this group who want to make sure that we can, you know, do it right for him on weekends.
Once New Zealand rugby's hierarchy rejected Robbie Deans and held on to Graham Henry,
that's a young Quade Cooper
became the only show in town.
It's never been personal for me. It could be Julia Gillard coaching Australia, as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't matter. It happened to be Robbie Deans.
Not only are they expected to win this match, but then the next one as well. You know, so I mean, there is a hell of a lot of expectation. Just what that does to them, I'm not sure, but you definitely know it's there.
I thought Aussies had a chance because of Carter's absence, the problems that New Zealand had at half-back, the indecision, what they did there, and the fact that Richie McCaw was clearly not 100% because of injury, and I thought this guy, Pocock, is a magnificent player.
David
I
Pocock.
think if Pocock takes
nice.
McCaw out, we could have the shock of the tournament.
It's unique. We're not just going to roll into this. It was just...
Okay, so this is the Australia team that has David Pocock, they have Quade Cooper, they got a couple other guys. This is a very good Australia team. If it's when I think of some of the, you know, the bigger Australia players that I've heard about or reacted to, this is a tough team from what I can understand. Yeah, they got a lineup for sure, 100%.
Fear, like
strong lineup too.
Like, man, you know, some of the plays that we'd come up with, are they going to work? You know, and added to this was the fact that Australian teams had played so well. They'd beaten us the last time we played, and they were just the last team we would have wanted to lose to at that tournament. You know, that if anyone was going to spoil the party that was happening around the World Cup, you know, it was almost too horrible to think of that they could beat us.
It was the ideal fixture to peak in. One, because of the history of the Rugby World Cup, and two, because it was Australia.
I remember waking up that morning and thought, well, for a semi-final against Aussie, would I want to do anything more, or if I had more time? And I was like, nah, I'm ready. And I think that's the way the team felt, so.
Let's get it.
New Zealand have got a history of panicking when things go wrong.
They carry the hopes of their public.
They know what it means to this country.
The nation expects, I can't wait for this game.
A challenge for these fierce rivals from opposite sides of the Tasman Sea. Massive crowd at Eden Park to greet them. And Quade Cooper starts the match at Eden Park with a mistake.
From the very kickoff, they kicked it out over the sideline. We had a mid scrum on halfway, and then I think Pity went just the move that we'd practiced, and he put it right in the corner.
Oh, what a great start! The man they call Mr. Fix-It, Pity Weepu.
Suddenly they were 5 metres out. The crowd was brilliant. You know, they were so loud, and I think even then you'd never, obviously that early in the game, there was literally only probably a minute or two on the clock, but everything was just working out, and the feeling, the buzz and the players, and you know, we were up for that game.
For them, you know, they probably thought, wow, here they come.
Israel had sat there stewing. He was pretty uptight, I felt, that week of the Australian test, because he knew he had to perform, and the players knew he had to perform.
Israel Dag for the first time finds
Dag's going crazy.
Dag gets it away to Jane. Kick ahead. James O'Connor's going to try and get it out of the end goal. He can't. Now Guinea puts it high.
So it happened, you know, a few went up. I think that our reaction was, well, I'll stop that now, because we'd hurt them several times off it. But it just kept coming, and we just kept defusing them and playing off them.
Truden runs, walks through the gap. Truden!
I'm proud about the way the guys handled the game, their total efficiency.
Drop kick, it's over!
Their brilliance in defence.
Almost to the line. Kamo's manhandled him.
Not giving the Australians a sniff, not giving them an opportunity. Like the try is just the icing on the cake.
Dag up in the line.
Woo, good double. Get above me. Get above me. Dump off. Stop playing with
Israel in that semi-final was out of this world. You know, he played the best game he's ever played in his life.
Israel Dag, could you start better?
Dag must have went crazy this game. Probably got a hat trick.
I remember them attacking for, you know, top wave after wave, and we were just getting up. There was just 15 guys up on their feet every time, and almost fighting it over each other to who wanted to make the tackle. You know, it's you know, that's when you know you're playing really well.
And the call came out of after 3 weeks of no rugby training. Everyone's telling us the Pocock's the greatest number 7 in the world, and he completely outplayed it.
And Weepu's over the ball. This could be a penalty for the All Blacks. Oh, great start. Pity Weepu. He'll give himself a shot at goal.
The way he played against Guinea, he was hugely influential, and I think that's his greatest test match he's had for the All Blacks. And you can't ask any more. In the biggest moment, at the time when you most needed your front up, but that's all you can do, and that's what he did. And I think for a short period of time he became the best in the world.
Into touch, it's all over. The All Blacks are into the World Cup final.
We were almost men possessed. It was a great game to be a part of in the end.
That game, I think, was as complete as any that we'd played under pressure in our 8 years.
That's what you aim for, and every now and again you get it, and that's a special feeling. And when it's the semi-final of a Rugby World Cup at Eden Park, there's no greater feeling.
No greater feeling.
It was sort of like at the end of that game, I was like, oh, that should be it. We're going to have to do this again.
Wales versus France, semi-finals. I feel like France is going to win. Oh, they crying. They balling. Oh, they balling.
They can't wait to get it into touch. They do so. France go to the final. Joy for the French. Heartbreak for the Welsh.
9-8. Damn.
It'll be a New Zealand-France final, just as it was back in 1987.
Everybody's waiting out the French team at the moment.
We were just talking about that just before we sat down, actually. There's a lot of media here today. I don't know how many cameras there are. There's quite a few.
Suddenly, in the middle of the World Cup, Piriwepu's become Mr. Fix-It. And there's these T-shirts with "Don't Panic, Piri's on." He's become the new overnight cult figure in New Zealand rugby. Yeah, "Keep Calm, Piri's on" is a bit what he's
I pity the fool.
Epitomises it. And the players enjoy "Keep Calm, Piri's on." They enjoy him being on the field because he's a very composed player and he's a very good decision maker and he can see things that other people can't see. And the players have got confidence in him.
He definitely gives off like a unbothered energy. Like he's just like he's very unbothered by things. Like just it's good. Everything's good, bro. Like he gives off that very, very much like I'm unbothered type of energy. Like nothing really phases me. Nothing gets me too up, nothing gets me too down. I'm just I'm just very unbothered by most things that happen. Which is good. It's good.
Leading your sports news tonight, comebacks. All Blacks injury call-up. Stephen Donald and Jose Aguirre made their first World Cup media appearances today.
No one was more surprised to be there than Donald.
That's not out.
Was he good enough?
It's finished, he's not the answer.
You know, like everyone else, just enjoyed watching the World Cup, and now, you know, obviously watched it thinking, geez, I'd love to be a part of it, and now that opportunity potentially is here, so I don't know, for me it's just excitement.
He was on the radar, but he wasn't in the wider training group. Hence he was whitebaiting somewhere down the Waikato River.
And he rang me and I said, "Beaver, what are you up to?" He said, "I'm whitebaiting, Ted." I said, "How much you got?" He said, "I've got about 8 kilos. I said, "That's a shitload of whitebait, Beaver." I said, "If you bring that whitebait into the Heritage Hotel room 336, you'll play in the final of the Rugby World Cup."
It's tough to back up those peak performances week after week, and you know we'd come off a lot of energy had gone into that last week. We had to make sure we prepared to do it again.
We had to balance the recovery with getting ready for the test match strategically. So you got to do a certain amount on the field, but recovery was a massive thing. Richie wasn't training at all. He'd become part of the coaching team at that point. Apart from the game day when he was consistently magnificent. Don't know how, but just incredible will, I think.
you do have to get over that hump. And it's difficult. You've got to get over that hump of mentally taking yourself into a really, really dark place to be able to get up and perform. And that, when you talk about people like McCaw, that's what makes him so amazing, because he does it so regularly. And he can do it regardless of who we're playing against. But not everybody has that.
It's a tough thing to do, back up a performance like that with another big one, which we knew we were going to need against a French team, which in a lot of ways, motivation-wise, had it all running for them, really.
You talk to the French management and they were saying the French agents are in the hotel, they won't talk to so-and-so, they won't do this. The whole thing just seemed to be imploded.
I'm not sure, really. I suppose because I asked the players not to go out, and I learned a little later that some of them did. We spoke about this morning, and I told them what I thought of them, that sometimes they can be selfish, egotistical, ill-disciplined, and they complain all the time.
We had a photo of the
Sounds
team
like the
room
French.
plastered with media articles about how they were cowardly.
Hey, don't tell none of the French people I said that, alright? Wait till I put the video on YouTube like 6 months from now. Don't tell none of them I said this. And if you French and you watching this right now, just take a joke, bro. Just take a joke, laugh it off. Just laugh it off. It's all good, bro. I've met a bunch of French people, especially when I was in college. That's the only reason I'm saying this. And I know how they were. But it's still all love. Like, I loved it. But I know how they was, though. Let's continue.
How they were disgraced to their country, how they were the worst French team ever. And we could just imagine them sitting there getting that all day. You know, you'd be prepared to die for your country if you went out under those conditions. You had to prove yourself to that extent.
So they gave the French the ideal environment, the ideal team talk.
3 days.
Willie came to one of our dinners prior to the final, and he talked about flushing out the enemy. So the enemy were in strongholds and they had to flush them out and get rid of them. And your life's at stake. And if you make a mistake, you're dead. And the timing to do that, and the explosiveness that you need to do that, and the team thing. So if one of your mates lets you down, you're all dead. Well, you had guys sitting in the front row and their eyes were sticking out on stalks, you know, the Franks boys and company. And he was brilliant. Like, he wanted to play. What he wanted to
Put
play.
me in the game.
He was on his toes. He was all energy and explosiveness.
I love it.
He was outstanding. "24 years is a long time for a country that is absolutely fanatical about the game."
The first time I remember watching the All Blacks play on TV, what I really remember was the '87 World Cup. I watched that final, I remember, and I always tells a story. I was out doing the haka and stuff and sort of only watched bits of it, but I remember pretending to be John Kirwan scoring that try he scored and stuff like that. And you know, 24 years later, here I am, same place, you know, playing the same game. So, you know, you think about that and you think, you just pinch yourself how lucky you are.
You could feel this pressure and all the baloney from 6 weeks earlier about it's about the tournament, it's not about who's winning. We got down to the final, it was New Zealand in it. It was only about winning by this stage. And suddenly the whole nation couldn't hide what had been behind the mask for 6 weeks. And you could, if you were in New Zealand, you could really feel the tension yourself.
Suddenly it was upon us, and just tried to get out of the hotel a little bit, but you know, it's there was just people everywhere by that stage. It was, you couldn't escape it no matter where you went.
You find yourself getting up and checking your bag that you've got it all sorted, you know, a few times and things like that.
We went out to do some line-outs at about 3 o'clock or something. And there was thousands of people standing around the hotel even then. I just remember thinking, wow, this sort of We're going to have to go and play games soon.
Big time, baby. Big time.
This is Prime News. First at 5:30.
Kia ora, good evening. The All Blacks carry the hopes of a nation and the burden of history into tonight's Rugby World Cup final. And in just a few hours, a question posed every 4 years will have its answer. Will this be New Zealand's time, or as they have before, will France find something special to once again break Kiwi hearts? Fan zones.
And then we went to get on the bus to go to the ground. The whole street was just chocker. And we walk out just going, wow. I hope when we come back they've all got a smile on their faces.
That's on you, buddy. You better hope so.
Coming up to the corner of coming off Ponsonby Road onto Karangapi Road on that corner there, I don't think I've ever seen that level of support ever. The road actually went from 3 lanes wide to just bus width.
That's love, man. That's love.
Just about brought me to tears, to be honest.
It was just all black, and it was just a massive amount of support, and yeah, I was lapping it up. It was great.
The support of the World Cup and the support of the team, the All Blacks, was very special, and the boys are very appreciative of that, and that's very emotional too. You got thousands of people lining the streets. Some are lucky enough to have tickets, some who have not. All in black, all in New Zealand gear,
rapping,
all charging behind the team.
This is a nervous excitement. A World Cup final doesn't come around very often, and this team, well, they could silence a lot of critics tonight.
And I said to Smithy, what's wrong with Piri? He said, I don't know, Ted. They thought what he doesn't know won't hurt him. But he'd strained the adductor in the warm-up. So when he came to kick in the final, he was sore. And that was a major.
Dog, who's the kicking specialist for y'all? You got dudes doing kicks and warm-ups, tearing abductors, tearing their groins. What's going on? Who is manning these people? Because that's like 3-4 dudes who do the same thing, all got injured. Nobody else getting injured but the 3 dudes who kick and do the same exact thing. The dude got, Dan Carter tears his groin, his replacement gets injured, and then the other dude who's kicking now he get hurt tearing his adductor, which is part of his groin. Like, what the hell is good? Like, I don't know. That's my personal trainer brain, along with being sports-minded, instantly goes into, like, what is happening with that specific section, and the trainers or the massage people or the stretching. Maybe you guys don't stretch the groin or the inside leg enough, like in your warm-ups or something. Like maybe you guys just do all the other stretches in your warm-ups, but you forget the groin on the inside or something. I don't know. Maybe it's the workouts you guys give people that cause those adductors to just get so tight and tear. But like 3 times, like it's like, come on, bro. We got to start looking at something. But that's my personal trainer brain just gone.
Eden Park was, it was special. It was a cauldron, and it gave us, a real sense.
Before this game starts, all right, let's finish it out. We at the home stretch now. At this point, man, let's see if they get this dub, and if they get it in, style, man. Let's get to it.
So, this is meant to be. We've got to win this thing.
It's time to go.
Seeing shivers down my spine thinking about it now. I think at the time I tried not to get too caught up in all the emotion of how I'm playing in a World Cup final. Probably the one game that if you ever wanted to play in, that'd be the one for the All Blacks.
Right.
I remember the anthem and almost choking up, just thinking this is massive. This is the day we've waited for.
This shit got me on my toes, man. I wish I watched this all in one sitting, bro. I couldn't do it, but I low-key wish I watched it in one sitting instead of over the course of 2 weeks. But it's okay, man. It still got the same emotional feeling, man. It's crazy. Let's go.
Gets the final underway. The crowd in great voice early.
It's too little.
And offside against France. Well, goal kicking is going to be a big part of this final, one would imagine. Crampton.
I remember when we weren't getting the points that I thought we should have got early in the game.
He's hurt. He's hurt, though.
That's way to the right.
And they were hanging in there, and you could see them sort of get a lot of belief out of that. You know, there was a few of us that just kept looking at each other thinking, yeah, this is exactly what we prepared for.
Whenever pressure went on the final, Richie Kahui in particular, he diffused a lot of pressure kicks in that final. I don't think he dropped one. You know, they called themselves the bomb squad because they diffused the bombs, and that's what they did at critical times under pressure.
And the throw is good. Pops it off to Tony Woodcock. There's the first try of the final. What a move.
They try and drag him back and drag him forward and create an opening in the middle, and you pop someone coming around through the middle and drop the ball down to him.
That was a great opening.
He scores. So it's like dunking your tea bag.
The All Blacks have a player down, and it's Aaron Cruden.
Damn, bro. Injuries is crazy.
Cometh the hour, cometh the man.
Number 4, 5'8" for the All Blacks. It's been a jinx position.
Off goes Trenduk. A lot of space. Trenduk still going.
Good tackle.
Penalty though. Now, who's going to do the goal kicking?
Stephen Donald striding forward.
And the White Boat King came on, and
I love the cheer he's getting.
Stephen Donald.
Crowd at Eden Park.
Let's see what you
a
got.
lot of people will remember his jersey being too short, so he looked a wee bit, but it didn't bother him.
It's as big a kick as you'll ever get.
And he bowled up, took the kick. The rest is history.
He kicked it, and to me it looked like it was going straight at the upright. He'd turned around and taken off back. He ran past me, and I was still looking. I'm like, gee, he's obviously certain it's going over. But
oh, it just missed. He got it.
as the game wore on, especially in the second half, when they scored, all of a sudden you could see the belief in their eyes that, you know, there's a good chance they could win this.
The captain! France are back!
They just kept throwing the storm at us, you know. They just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming, and it became, you know, a game of attrition. It was brutal.
At the game, you could have hit a pin drop.
You know, definitely I can say that was the hardest game I've played in my life.
Damn.
You just got to place your trust and your faith in these guys who are playing their hearts out for you.
The big thing is be calm, you know. Well, first of all, me being calm.
Scrum, too many players, one scrum.
Oh, this game is on an absolute knife edge.
There's obviously a minute, 2 minutes left, so our options were either kick it and back our defence, or we just try and look after the ball.
Stay bound.
Look after the ball.
Flash through your mind, you know, you flash through your mind thinking 207, we're going to go through this again. How's Raywin and the kids going to handle this? It was bloody hard in 207, I tell you.
I think they did what I usually say. I don't know if they actually did or not, but you all know how strong I feel about, like, you never let the other team have the opportunity to take the game from you. You take the game. You put the game in your hands, and you never let the game go in their hands. Why kick them the ball and give them the ball and hope your defense stops them from scoring, rather than you just holding the ball and making sure that you don't lose it? You know what I mean? I'd rather make sure I don't lose the ball than put it in my opponent's hands and hope that I can stop them. No, I'm just not going to let you get it. I got it right now. Why would I let you get it? You know what I mean? So I'm glad they went with that approach. At least that's what this part is making it seem like. They went with that approach. Like, we just gonna hold the ball and we're gonna try to hold it down until full time, and then we're gonna kick it out and win the game. We're not gonna give it to them and let them come back and they win if we can't stop them on defense. That's unfair to the defense. We got the whole we could hold this ball. So if that's how they win this game, I'm glad they did that, because that's what I always preach personally.
I'm going to handle this. Can we live in this country?
And they're offside. They don't.
There it is.
And the All Blacks are the world champions.
Yeah. Big dubs. 8-7. Wow. Big dubs.
First emotion was just, thank Christ for that. It's all over, just huge relief. I'm meant to be happy now. I was just that shattered that I was just happy it was over.
For real. It's like shit.
First things I thought about were family, players, and my old mates sitting beside me.
The sound went out?
Yeah. And it put a lot of into it, and you could see the relief and everybody, the public, the joy that you'd given those people was amazing.
Yeah, just amazing to be able to share it with them, and then really proud to be a New Zealander.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I don't know what's going on with the sound, bruh.
It took every ounce of energy, both mentally and physically combined, that I was just, I was as shattered as I've ever been. But that's what winning a World Cup should be, shouldn't it? It should take you right to that limit.
Like, Richie's probably been the greatest All Black ever. He is a special boy. He's a special New Zealander because he's bright and he's brave and he's inspirational and he gives everything. So when he came off the field in the final, I looked at him and thought, he should be in hospital on a drip. He's got the ability to give every last ounce of everything that he's got. And I don't know anybody else who can do that.
Whoa, what's up with the sound at the end of this? Yeah. Big dubs. Big dubs.
Who played the most destructive rugby against the weakest teams? I think probably you'd say New Zealand. You know, who played the 40 minutes of the tournament? I think you'd have to say New Zealand against Australia. Who played the most kaleidoscopic 20 minutes in the pool stages? When Carter was on the field, it was the All Blacks. A lot of people like cribbing New Zealand. Such a successful rugby nation, but you have to take into account the blows that New Zealand suffered during that tournament. You have to take into account the pressure that comes on psychologically in the final. And then when you look at the whole thing in context, I think it would take a churlish person to say New Zealand were not the best team.
I think if you look back and you say, is there anything we could have done differently? Is there anything we could have done better? In the end, you'd have to say no. We won. We hosted a great tournament. People came and had a wonderful time. The tourists, really loved it. We showcased New Zealand at its finest, and there was a lot of drama, and that added to the event. And maybe Richie was right. Maybe 8-7 was the right result, but 48-7 would have been easier in my heart.
The All Blacks are often being the best in the world, but without being world champions. And it's not the same. And world champions are special because you've got something to add to the All Black legacy.
Mum had sent me back to the 07 Cup, saying, bring it home and win it. So we hadn't done that, but we managed to in the long run.
#1 team in the world over the last few years for a lot of that, for a fair percentage of it. Every time everyone talked about it, it was, but you haven't won the World Cup. And
now you got
it's just nice to be able to get rid of that but.
Big dubs.
And put that to bed, really.
Yeah. Big dubs on Wellesley. Big dubs on Wellesley Avenue. Yeah. Big dubs. Alright, man. That was it. Weight of a Nation All Blacks, man. That was a dope documentary. Definitely gives me a little bit more insight too on the history of that team. It also gives me more insight on why so many people, especially 3 years ago when I first was doing the rugby reactions, why I was getting so many people commenting only players from this specific team. Even still to this day, Ma'anonu, Dan Carter, Richie McCaw, Colin Slade, all these different players from that specific era of the All Blacks, people still to this day comment to react to and to check out and to watch videos on. So just gives me a whole lot more background. Definitely something I needed to watch and check out just for history purposes as well, educational purposes as well. And I'm glad y'all were here to watch it with me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for enjoying. Thank you for supporting the Patreon and everything else. I will hope to continue to bring good content, good rugby content, and continue to grow as a rugby reactor. And whatever that growth comes with, I'm ready and willing to receive that. If things transition later on at some point, then that's what happens. But I'm still glad I was able to be a part of this with you guys and also be accepted by you guys. Because you guys don't got to accept me, bro. I know there's certain people who, I'm going to be the New Zealand reactor and I'm going to react to everything in New Zealand. And that's never been me. I react to some stuff here and there, but I mostly just keep it rugby and sports because that's what I like and enjoy, and that's what I came into knowing about. And there's other things that are a part of the New Zealand culture that I may check out and react to, but I'm never going to act like I'm a New Zealander. I'm an American. I'm a black American. I'm not a New Zealander, and I will never disrespect you guys by pretending to be a New Zealand reactor only to take advantage of you guys and have you guys follow me and watch my videos just for me to say, yeah, fuck that, I actually really wanted to do this, and this is what I'm doing now. And there's people like that, and I'll never be that. So You know, if I transition, it's because that's just the time for me to do something different. But I'm glad you guys have accepted me, and I accept you guys. So appreciate y'all, love y'all. If you even watch what I just said right now, you probably the realest of all the real ones we got out here. All right, so keep letting me know what you want to see. Keep checking out the YouTube. Keep checking back in on the Patreon. I'm gonna do the Chasing the Sun documentary for my South Africans next. And that's it, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Remember to keep it real. Real is rare, and real always reaches everyone. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.